Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the channel. Hey, today I'm going to take a look at the wheel tire setup on the Tacoma back there. Now, the reason I'm going to do that, I've been getting a lot of questions lately. People asking me what I have, why I have it, and if there's any kind of rubbing or any kind of issues like that, because it is an aftermarket setup. So first of all, let me tell you what I did. Originally, I had a Fuel ANSA Nitto Ridge Grappler setup on the Tacoma here. They're sitting over here, and they were, or are, a 20-inch Fuel ANSA wheel and a 275/60 R20 tire. And you can see the Nitto Ridge Grappler has a little bit more aggressive tread work on the side, obviously a little bit deeper tread work in the tire itself than, say, the OEM or the closer to OEM all-terrain tire has. Now, these aren't really a mud tire, but they certainly would work for pretty decent off-roading, I think. So they are multifunctional, I guess. You can use them on-road, and they're a pretty comfortable ride, or off-road as well. So, why did I take them off this truck? Well, number one, I want to put them on the 2020 that I have coming. They're going to be the, at least the initial setup on that truck. And a lot of people have said, well, why didn't you just put the OEM wheels and tires back on the Tacoma here? Well, because you see, I didn't really plan on trading this truck off so soon. I thought I'd have it for a while, and I sold that setup when I got this truck. So I didn't have them. I had to do something else because I wasn't going to let the aftermarket Fuel ANSAs and Nitto Ridge Grapplers go with the truck. So I went to Discount Tire and decided on this setup that I have right now. Now, a lot of you know are going to say rather, well, they're chrome. You say you hate chrome. Well, I don't love chrome, and to be honest, if I wasn't trading the truck, I would have gone with some sort of a black painted wheel like the Fuel ANSAs over there. But this will suffice for trade-in. Now, for cost reasons, I did go a size down. I went with a 16-inch versus a 17-inch. And actually, I like the way this looks on here. You know, you get a little bit more wheel gap because they're a little bit more narrow or lower profile tire, I guess. The diameter's a little bit smaller than the OEMs that came on it. They look pretty good, I think. So what are they? The tires themselves are called Entrada All-Terrains Provider. They're a 265/70 R16, and the wheel is an MB wheel, and this is Discount Tires brand, and they don't look too bad on there either, I think. I do wish they were black, to be quite honest. If they were painted black like the insides here, I think they would look pretty good. Now, as far as the setup itself, I think this is a good mix for on and off-road driving, as long as you're not doing severe off-roading. You know, you have a good tire wall here so that you're not coming up against the wheel when you run into ruts and divots and rocks and all that good stuff, and that's what you want. If you had a low profile tire, obviously you're going to have problems off-road because you're not going to have any wall here to absorb the bumps and ruts and things that you do with something like this. So this is definitely what you want to go with, or something similar, as opposed to a low profile setup. Now, as I mentioned, people have asked me about rubbing and all that good stuff. You can see there is quite a bit of distance all the way around on the rear. Never really a concern in the rear anyway. I mean, pretty much if you can fit the tire in the opening, you're going to be okay. Things to be concerned about, I guess, would be against the front of the wheel well here in the rear, and then the rear of the wheel well back here. You know, if you had a huge tire and it's possible that as the truck moved you could hit, maybe that would be a concern, but you'd have to go pretty darn big to have to worry about any of that around this tire. Now, where it comes into play is up here in the front. You know, the original setup that I had on this truck, which is now actually on our Jeep, didn't fit. It was too big. I had a problem with the tire, really more of an offset problem, but I had a problem with the tire hitting the UCA. It was too close. And that again has to do with offset. You need to get that tire pushed out far enough so that you're not having that problem. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know what a UCA is, it's the upper control arm, and it's this part or piece right here. Let's see, right here. That's where the edge of the tire down here would actually hit. When you went over bumps or turned the wheel or anything, that's where I was having my problems. When I turned the wheel and hit a bump, the tire would actually impact the UCA here, and that was my trouble. Now, the other places you can have problems, obviously, are here on the side, the back part of the wheel well in the front, and then up here in the front as well. Now, you're going to have troubles there if you go with a tire that's too big. You know, you turn the tire and you can impact anything that's hanging down here in the front or in the back. This particular truck, when I first went with the different or aftermarket wheel and tire setup, I had them cut this little chin strap here. It used to be more up and down this way. Now I had them cut it and angle it, which I think actually looks better. It kind of matches the lines of the fender or the wheel well. But I had them cut it because if not, when I turned the tire, it would impact this chin strap. Now, in the end, I took this thing off anyway, so it didn't really even matter. But just to beware, if you go with something that's too big, you can have problems with the tire impacting this little air dam, I guess is another name for it, up here in the front. Now, let me take you out. We'll show you real quick kind of a better view of the UCA problem in a bigger space because I have the Tundra sitting out here. And by the way, the Tundra does have, these were OEM wheels and tires, at least as far as what came with the truck from the dealership. I think these were put in at distribution or something. But I love the setup here. They're 20-inch wheels. These are T-Force wheels. And as far as the tire itself goes, it's a 275/55 R20. And you can see a little bit better here what I'm talking about. If your tire was too far inset, if you will, it can rub the UCA here. And that was the problem that I had on the Tacoma. Now, this truck does have wheel spacers on it. You can see them right down there. These are Bora wheel spacers. Purpose of that for me, two really. One, to bring the tires out after the lift so that I didn't have any problems, and I don't think I would have anyway, because I didn't really change anything other than up here in the front where a couple of mud guards, one on each side, were removed because now when the wheel turns with the spacers on, it would have impacted these, so we just took them off. No big deal. What the spacers do, they actually bring the tires out about 1.5 inches or so. They're actually 1.25 inches, I believe. The spacers themselves are 1.25 inches, and I haven't had any issues with them. The wheel spacers work really well, and I love the more aggressive look that I get with the tires poking out a bit. You can see it really well here in the front. Before they were more even or even inside of that wheel well. I love the way that it looks now, and that's really the whole reason why I went with wheel spacers. But back to my original point, you can see in the back here I have plenty of space, something that you need to be concerned with on the Tacoma if you did go with a more aggressive, larger tire setup. Same thing as I mentioned here in the front, except we did remove that mud guard. So anyway, like I said, I've had several questions recently about the setup that I'm currently running, and I just kind of wanted to put all that together in one video to maybe clear things up for anybody out there who's looking to change out to go with some kind of an aftermarket setup, because frankly there's a lot of misinformation out there about that, and I think it's probably because a lot of folks go out, because I hear this all the time, they pick up a setup or they choose a setup and the installer either doesn't know or just doesn't tell them, I don't know, that they're going to have issues, and then they're stuck with rubbing issues or having to cut or do something crazy. And it always is a good idea to know up front, so at least you can make an informed decision and know whether or not you're going to need to do even more based on the setup that you're looking at. Anyway, leave a comment down below. Is this helpful at all? Does this answer anybody's questions? I'd be curious to know, because that was my intent. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.